Hello everybody and welcome to another tutorial in camera lens repair. And this time I will take my old Canon FD 135mm 3.5 and it is the SC. It's an old breech lock lens, which is actually very good. I mean, it should be very good, but it has a very sticky oil on the aperture blades. So let's see what we can do about it. Well, I mean, the lens looks actually very healthy in a way, and I mean, also on the back it's not much really bad looking. But the problem is, if I put it on a Canon camera, this one is the AE1, which is okay camera, and I take this old dusty lens and try to fire the camera, set the lens to something like 16 and see what's happened. Well, the aperture is working actually good, as it should. But it's not really the case in this lens here. So put it on and we do the same, set the lens to something like 16 or so. It doesn't really matter, but nothing happened. I mean, it should stop down to 16 or so, but it doesn't really do anything, even if I try to set it there and try to move the aperture ring, fire the camera or whatever. It doesn't really matter. So even though if I set it to A, something would happen, maybe, but no. So the blades are really, it seems like they're very sticky. So off with that lens, and let's jump into it. Yeah. Before we do so, we need some tools. The famous rubber Japan hobby tools rubber cone, which is really good. Also in this case, we need a small lens sucker, or you could also use a tweezer or so to working with the blades. We also need a bigger one. This is also from Japan Hobby Tool, is a lens sucker, which is quite good. We need some dentist tool, which is quite handy. Here is the different shapes, and they do not really cost a lot on the internet. Look for dentist tools, spades, sonds, I don't know all the names, but I get them in a second-hand shop, so they do not really cost a lot. We need a JIS 2.5mm. This is a Moody tool, which I have actually buy on iFixit.com as a set of 4, and just to get something important. I'm not at all sponsored by any company. Everything I do on my channel is, yeah, I pay with my own money. We also need a rubber stopper, kind of rubber tool to put the aperture assembly in here, to clean it when we put it back in again. And we also need some cleaning fluid, and I really have very good experience with the Isopropylalcohol 99%, and you just put it in a glass jar, which is fine. And we also need a lens wipe tissue or something. This is just a cloth, which is quite good to clean the blades in here. But let's jump into it and see what we can do. First thing first, we actually need to unscrew the nameplate, which is this one here. And with this we need the 5 of the Japan hobby tool. You will see the number 5, and it fits really okay over here. Has the almost same diameter, and we can just put it in and use the gloves, and it should be quite easy to turn. Yeah, I think it works. Yeah, you can see it turns. Sometimes they can sit quite tight, but the front name ring is actually made of plastic, so it should be quite easy. Don't need to press too hard on it, and there should not be any problem with that. So that's it. And when we are looking into here, we need to set some mark. Well, I took a sneak peek into the lens and just look in here. I haven't been further into the lens. Yeah, on the back I took a sneak peek to see what's inside, but we need to set a mark here where the index mark here and all the way up to here it's almost in line, so we need to set a mark here. So that's with the that's in line with the mark here, and also almost in line with the index mark. Now unscrew 3 screws here, there and there, and as you can see, it's not possible to put this front ring on into the lens in a different way, because the 2 screws are offset to the one up here, so it shouldn't be a problem. And with my JIS screwdriver, there's no need for unscrew this retaining ring, because we will take the whole lens assembly, front lens assembly out without any problem. Just need to set a mark here. So off, whoop, tight fit. Just need to set a mark here, and it's good with a magnetized screwdriver, because then you can suck out the screws here, and it's quite easy. And the last one. Then we take out the front ring here. It comes off quite easy, and here is how it looks. Nothing special. And then we can it's a good idea to just use a lens blower, which is also a very good thing. This is the Orbit, it's a HEPA Jet 2, which I really like because it has a filter. So the air that comes into the blower, it's filtered by a HEPA filter. So it will come out here is pure, clean air, dust free in a way. So we can, and it's also a good thing to set a mark here, up here, so we know the exact position of that. So the 2 marks here are in line with each other, so you know the position of the front lens group. Now it should be possible to wiggle it out, because it's actually loose at the moment. It's held down by the front barrel here, so you can see it can move around, and it fits quite good over it. So that's fine. So we need to put it on a rubber thingy So we can just use the biggest, which is number 6 of the cone, and simply put it on here and let it, and put it aside. Now we are looking actually into the aperture assembly, which is in here. See, there are 3 screws here, and it looks like there's also 3 screws on the other side, which there are, but we need to take out the whole aperture assembly out before we can get into the plates, take off this plate, and of course clean the blade. But now turn it over, and we need to take the mount off, and there are some things that you need to take care of. Well, it's a good thing to set this lock up to here and let it stay there. See, it's a lock. You can put it up there. It will stay there. The other one is actually the aperture ring that will move it if it actually works, but it does not because of the very sticky oil. Now, there is a little spring in here, which is the lock for the breech lock ring. So we can press it down a little, and the spring should move it. There's a spring in here that will actually move the ring, and in an easier way lock it on the camera. So you just have to turn it more over to lock it. But we cannot come into the 3 screws here on the back, this and this one. We cannot come into it because of the lock spring here. So just press it down a little and turn it almost as long over as you can. But you see, we have to, all 3 screws need to be exposed. So now we can take them out, unscrew them fully. It's quite strong, and they are small. Take care of them. So there, and the last one. Now have a good grip here on the mount. Since there are some springs inside here, you see, it will turn a little, as you can see. So we need to take it off gently. And there's another little thing that needs some attention, that we when we take it off, there is a very little pin here. This is a lock pin, and we can only see it from inside, actually what's happened. So now we take off the mount, and you can see what's happening here. See, this pin here is actually the one that moved the aperture when the breech lock is fully open. So you can see how it works there, and then it locks. It's because then you can put it on the camera here, and you have the mark here, and see what's happened. If we do so, click it on there, and then it's free. So let's see what's happened actually. So, haha, very simple, very interesting. This is the lock that is actually locked here, so we can just do so. And here we can see what's happened. Interesting. And if we have yeah, wind up the film, we can use the depth of field button to actually push on here, and then you can see what's happened with the inside the mount. And we can of course lock it into position. So there. Then you can see there is not really happened anything. Of course the camera will wind, but if we unlock the depth of field, so it will pop back again. So there. Interesting system. Well, the camera needs a a little service. I can see, I can hear. When we are in here, you can see all the dirt on the I mean the oil on the inside of the mount, which is also in here on the back side of the lens. And the little pin I mentioned earlier is this pin here. Don't lose it. There's also that little spring you can see, probably, which is also, let's see if we can do it. Yeah, there's a little spring, you can see it, but take care of not lose it. Well, now we actually looking into the back of the lens, and then I need also, it will make it a little easier, but it's not really necessary. It depends on how much oil is inside here. The lens has maybe being stored that way. I don't think it's that way because, well, don't know. But all the oil, actually, where does it come from? Yeah, the only way it can come into the lens is from the focusing system. So when the grease or whatever they have used many years ago, they separate, well, the oil will separate into the plates, and as you can see on the back here, it could be worse or not so worse. Now I will take off the back lens group, which is only one lens, and you can see this is a tube which is made of plastic, and for that we will need a tool. We can probably use this one. Haven't tried. I would use a bigger tool like this gasket I found in the plumbing section, which is quite sticky. So we can put it on here and unscrew it counterclockwise, as you can see here. Or we could also try the other one, as this one, and we can just unscrew it. Now I fully unscrew it and take care of the back lens in here. It has to sit correct when you put it back in again. So that's it. So we need to take it out. Just use a blower to get rid of the dust, and very carefully put the lens sucker on here. So, and then we need to take it out. Now look very carefully, because the lens element is convex on this side, you see, and kind of concave on the other side. So if we take a closer look, we could see. Hopefully you can see it's flat on this side and it's concave on the other side. Be very sure how it looks. And of course, well, since I was in the lens earlier, just to take a look how the lens element looks, I mean at least the back, I set a mark with a pencil and just set it as it facing this way. So in that way you can see the very convex side here. Maybe it's could it be more easy to see? What if I do so? Will it be help? Yeah, it's not much, as you can see. So, but remember to set a mark which way it should face, and it should be flat on the back here, like this, and convex on the front. Now put it aside, and now we go deeper into the lens. We can just wipe off the actual oil, a lot of it. There's no need for actually fully disassemble it. There's no need for that. But we'll go into it anyway. So let's see inside here. There are a few things that we need to take a closer look. See here, this pin is actually the one that moved the plate. Wow! Oh, that's really a lot of oil. This pin here is the stopper, and this is what's actually moved the plate. So you can see there is really a lot. And the other pin here is actually the one that moved the plate. It will say the aperture ring. So when I move the aperture ring, this pin here will move the plates. So we need to actually take out the whole plate assembly. Oh, wow, there's really a lot. But let's have a look inside. Now, which is very important, it is. We need to set a mark. I haven't done it yet. And you could say, well, the index mark is your reference, and all the way up to here, set a mark here. Actually, set a mark down here where it before you actually disassemble the aperture assembly, which is quite important. So with a very where do we have it, pointed tool, dentist tool is good for that. You simply make a scratch. There it is, down here. It's plastic inside here, but just make a small mark here. And you also make a small mark here on the inside. Make a scratch so you can see it. Doesn't have to be much, but you probably can see it. It's not really much. So now I know the exact position of the aperture. So the hole in the aperture plate will actually be the correct one when I assemble it again. Now, the 3 screws here need to be unscrewed, and they are quite long, as you can see. So out with that, and the last one. So there, and then I can actually pop it out, turn it over, and let it fall into your hand by pressing down on this pin. Should be possible. So you can see there. Don't worry, we will put it back in again and see. Wow, there's really a lot of oil in here. It really needs a treatment. Now, so this is the Aperture Assembly. You can see there are really problems in here. It's so sticky with all oil that it will not close, not as fast as it should be. So that's it. But I can just wipe off the oil in here with a cloth. And to do, use an old t-shirt or something. Not anything special, but simply wipe it off. And that will be all fine. You probably think, okay, why not just fully disassemble it? Well, it's not really necessary, as long as there's not really any oil here on the moving part here, which there is. Well, it seems a little sticky. So what we can do is, you see there is a lock ring here. This one can be moved. See, down here it's around the hold this part in place, but we could try to take that part out also by yeah, I can see there is actually oil here. You can probably see there is a little shiny oil. So what we can do about it, use the dentist tool and hopefully get that spring out. Should be possible by holding where do I have a tool here, and move the ring. Hopefully it can come out. I think it's a little tricky, but I hope we will make it. Probably. Where do we have something? A piece of paper. Can probably do it and have it a little out of angle, and hopefully it's not that easy. We need 3 hands. Well, so here we are. So here it comes out. Then we can take it out. Yeah, there's also a lot of oil here. So it comes out. You can probably see a lot of oil. Well, I'll just put it into the isopropylalcohol. Let it stay there. And also the blade and this part here, which have a lot of oil. You can probably see. Also they need a shower. And I will just use some cotton buds to, in a way, clean the part here. So there will be no oil here left. Need a lot of cotton buds. So there. And we also take it here around. So now it looks fine. That's okay for now. It could be much more in your lens, or it could be a lot less in your lens. So now we go into the aperture blade itself and simply take it apart. And just to make things a little easier, well, it should not be, I mean, we do not need to do that, but in case of you get confused how it actually sit, I mean the plates sit here correct, should not be necessary. You could make a scratch here and here, so you know the position of the plate, but it should not be a problem. And you might think, okay, why not just jump it into, I mean, fully flush it here. Well, you cannot be sure all the oil and grease comes out, so you will need to take it apart anyway and actually dry the rest of the isopropyl alcohol off the blades and the top plate here and the other plate and the moving part here. So no matter what, you will not save any time to actually just flush it in here, no matter what. Now, there's another thing. You see the spring here? Just get it off and put it somewhere you can find it. So, there. And now we can just take apart the 3 screws that hold it and put it all into the bars. Come on, there. And the last one. And finally, we can take off the plate. It's really amazing how much oil. The blades can maybe stick to the plate here, which they not really do, but jump into it, the bars. And you see how the blades actually sit, if it's possible. See how they move. Now we'll just need a tool to get them off. See, I mean, the blades can only sit in one position. Wow! I do not need any oil to heat up my house. It's all in here. It's not really so much on the other side here, but so, and it will just sit there for a little time. So, and then we can just continue. The blades have sit there for some 5 minutes or so, and I have stirred a little, and I think it helps. Now let's see what's next. Need a cloth to wipe them off. And just, there shouldn't be, it looks fine. Yeah, there is no oil here left on the parts, so I think it will be really good. Also the plastic part here. Wow, it looks good. It looks really good. Just like new. So there. It's all fine. Yep. And the plate that moved the blades also needs some wipe off the rest of the isopropyl and oil, and here we are, almost like new. And this plate, the top plate, I think it will be really good. Wow. And that's fine. Okay. Now the ring here also need to be wiped off. Fine. Now the blades itself. Then I need a lens cloth, microfiber, which I think it's a good thing because we do not need to scratch anything. You see, this special tweezer is made very flat on the tip. It will say you can actually grab directly on the pin, the small pins, where the one end of the aperture plate. So it will make it easier to actually take up from the bars. It looks fine. well, they are not new, so let's see it in that way. It's okay for now. And take care of the blades. I mean, they are made of metal, as we will see in short time, because they are, when you use a tweezer that is there is magnetic, well, it will stick to the blades. Oh. So if I take a screwdriver, this is magnetic, and you can actually take off the blades. So they are made of metal, as you can see. So don't actually bend them. I think you will have problem to make them flat, completely flat again. So, and we are almost there with new plates. I mean, clean plates. So you can see it's not that hard to actually do this trick. You need some patience and some tools which are not expensive at all. And then you have a new lens again, working lens. So there. You can see you can actually grab on the pin, one of the pins here. You can grab on it and hold in a better way to wipe off the rest of the isopropylalcohol. And now they look fine. That was all. Away for the isopropylalcohol, and then we can just get on to assemble the whole thing. And it's a good thing to have a stand like this. This is a rubber cone. It's set of 9 different, which you can buy. There is a link in the description that will tell you where you can get it. So now we need to put on the plate first with this one, and I will say the moving part here needs to be put on here. It can only sit in one position. It will say, see here, this cut out or something. The pin here can only sit there. So when moving it, it can only go from one end to the other. So that's quite easy. Then we have to figure out how to put in the plates. So we start with one here, and you can see the 2 pins and the hole here, which has to sit like that, and press it down a little, and then it sits there. So here we can see what's happened. If we move the moving part, that will move the plates, the plate. And it will the same thing happen with the other blades. So we just put the blades on all the way up to the not the last one, but the almost last one. It should not be that hard. And for that we can, to make it a little easier, I use my small lens sucker, which should be quite easy to put it on here. So, oh, and so there, and oh, just get a little closer. It can be a little tricky to put them on, but we'll make it. So there, and just need to flip over the other blades. So there, here we go. Then this blade here. If there is a little dust, it doesn't really matter. We will push it, blow it out. So now that was part of it, but you can see I cannot really reach the last hole here. So what I need to do is actually do that and hopefully get the last blade into place. That's why I put it on a stand. And I also need something to lift it up, and that's where the tricky part comes. So with the lens sucker here, I should be able to put it under the first blade. See, something like that. Press it down. Yeah, it can be a little tricky. So put a finger over it, and we will just blow some of the dust away. So here we can see how it looks and how it works. See? Which is quite good. Very interesting mechanism. So that's fine. And now we need to put on the cover plate for that. It can also only sit in one position. It will say the matte side is away from the plates, and you see it actually sit like that. The little pin here has to stick out here, so I need to put it on here over the pin, and see the holes here should also be something like that, and then put in the 3 short screws. it will say here. The next one. Just tighten them gently. They will not fall out because they are screwed into plastic. So I think it will do that. They will not just fall out. Come in, so, and that's it. And now you can tighten it good, not too much. So, and here we are with a working aperture assembly. Wow, really good. And then the little spring needs to come on. I mean, one end goes into the hole here in the pin, and we can just do that to hopefully put it in correct. We do it the other way. So now it sits on, and the other end just need to put on the little pin here. And here we are. Wow, yeah, it works like new. There's a thing to remember. This little gap here is connected to the little pin down here. Where is it? See this pin down here? There's a little one. It's connected to the gap here that will push the aperture open. Keep that in mind. So now I can actually put this on here. Well, it's actually connected to the other side. It was just me, sorry for that. It's connected into that pin here, which is also part of this here. It's of course the other pin. Sorry for that. So I can just put the aperture assembly into place, and it can, well, in some way only sit in one position. So with a tweezer we can, no, we'll not do it in that way. I will use my rubber tool here to have it, put it on here and let it go into the gap here. So there, and doing like that. And that can be a little tricky to put the little pin on, but we can just put in the screws, not fully put them in, but since we have a mark here, we can, where did it go? It was somewhere here. I have my mark here, which I set. I know it's difficult to see, but it's here on the plastic, and it's here on the inside of the helicoil. So I'll just put in and just a few turns with the screwdriver, screw it in. So I can still move the aperture assembly in so the little triangle part will come in correct place. So now it should work. See this part down here, it has to sit all the way over to here. It will make the trick. See? Let's see what happened. See there? And if I press on the other side, I will lift it up and move this part into place so it will click there. So now it should be able to move it. Now flip it over and not tighten the screw yet, but screw them further in, and we will probably need to just move the aperture assembly. You see the holes are quite small, so I need to move it a little so it's more open. The holes are quite big for those screws, so that's why you can actually adjust it a little. But since I have my reference mark here, it will help a lot. No, it's not there yet. So there. And here we are. So now it seems to actually working. Good. Now we need to put in the part here and put it over here so the aperture actually can come into place. So we can move this all the way as long as it can up to, it cannot come any further than there, and but I can actually push on a little on this and get it into place, hopefully. Yeah, I can put the the lock ring over here. It should be quite easy to put on. Not like when I took it out. Where is my dentist tool? Here. Yeah, you can see it's a bit tricky. And then you can move this out here and it will fall into place. Here we are. So you can see I can actually move it. And this is how it should look in here. So when I move this ring, or the aperture ring itself, it will move this part. And also the aperture blades can work as it should. So now I can put in the mount, And there's also some stickiness. It's not a problem because it will not move the aperture system. But we can just wipe away the rest of the oil. And again, maybe one should disassemble it, but well, since there is, I don't know how many steel ball in here, ball bearing. You see there are, I don't know how many, but there is a lot. Now, everything should be in place, and well, of course I need to put in my lens, my back lens group, which is one lens. Should be all fine. In with that, and the locking tube here, come in, turn it counterclockwise to get it into the thread. Sometimes it can be a little tricky, but you can just set it to infinity. Turn it back, click, says, then it should be easy to put in. Then use my rubber tool, whatever it is, and tighten it not too much. So that's it. Now I can put the mount on, and there are just a little thing to be really take care of. You see the tiny pin here with a little spring. It has to sit correct place. It will say here. This is where it should sit. It's the only hole it can sit. There's nothing else, but it should sit there. And we can set the aperture ring to something like 22. I think it should be more easy to put it in. And then the lock arm here is in place, and we will just release the bridge lock ring. So both of them are sitting like this when I put it in. So this pin will catch the shape of the, I don't know what the name is, but and this pin here should sit on this side of the pin down here. So I will just put it on, take care of the screws here and the little hole here, which will show the pin into place. Where is it? Can probably move it a little. It can be a little tricky, I know. Let's see what's happened. Should be something like over here somewhere. Where's that bloody pin? Okay, if I turn I have to turn the inner tube to get it into place, or I should have it, yeah, let's see. The breech lock has to be in lock position. This spring, it cannot come any further. We just take it again. So you turn it all the way up to here. It says click, and then you right. Put it over the fork. Have the little pin here, and it should end it up like the opposite direction. So there, see it right there. So now things sits correct, and we can actually put in just one screw, then unlock the breech lock ring, and see the other holes, the other two holes, which so I can screw in the next two screws. Tighten them good. So here, then move the breech lock ring and gently tighten it. So let's see how it will work if I put it on my camera. Just to lock position here, then put it on the camera. And I also need to unlock this so it will fully open the aperture. Then put it on the camera. The breech lock will turn, as you can see. We can just try it again. It should turn itself just a little. So then tighten it, and here we are. Then I can advance the camera, and we can actually see, wow, the aperture is working. I can set it to something like 5.6. I will not be that much open, and I can stop down the lens. So everything is actually working. Wow, that's good. So now the camera is fully automatic. See, too much light coming in. And set it to something like 22. 3.5, nothing works. 5.6, yeah. So now it works actually as it should, and I can just assemble the rest of it. Oh, it was on the other side, and put in the front lens group, which looks fine. And as you probably remember, I have a mark here. My index mark is here, so I can just put it on here where it should sit. Then the front ring, which have this small gap, it also have to sit there. Put it over, and that's it. So, and then the 3 screws that hold the front lens group and the ring in place. And now I have a fully working oil-free aperture system on this great old lens. I mean, maybe it took a little longer, but there were some details I think there should also be in here. So now the nameplate is on. Turn it counterclockwise and you will say click somewhere there, then screw it in. So you will not damage your nameplate or the thread actually. And many of those FD lenses are actually made that way. They are almost the same, so it's not that hard to fix them. So just need to put on the plate, the back cover, to protect the lens. And that should actually be that. Hope you enjoy the content and can use the info about this lens. And thanks for watching. Hope you see, there will be more videos about from me when I have the time. So see you soon. Bye bye.